What's going on, guys? Welcome back. I've got another one of my high protein meal prep videos for you guys today. It is going to be a creamy gochujang chicken pasta, something like that. The original recipe, I am kind of taking this one from Instagram and modifying it a little bit to make it more high protein and kind of towards my fitness goals rather than just delicious. So shout out to this gentleman right here. Check out his Instagram if you have not yet. And I'm going to show you my revised version of his recipe so that we can get some nice high protein and delicious meal prep for the week. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
First things first, we've got to prep our chicken. So all we're going to do today is cut it down into bite-sized pieces like so, and then throw them onto a baking sheet or a pan, whatever you can use to mix them together with the spices.
First things first, we need to season our chicken because the longer it marinates, the better the flavor is going to be. So we're going to go down with a small, quick glug of sesame oil. I just love the taste of sesame oil in cooking like this, which is why I'm putting it in. And then we're going to use my favorite ingredient, which I have to open a new bottle of, this fantastic chili oil and chili crisp. We're going to go down with 2 pretty big spoonfuls. That should do it. And then on top of that, we're going to go down with about 2 tablespoons of paprika. Finish it up with just a couple good, really strong pinches of kosher salt. And a few strong cracks of black pepper. Don't be shy, just get on in there and get everything really well mixed together. All right, now that our chicken is marinating, I figure it's a good time to go over the rest of our ingredients so you know what we need when we need it. So first and foremost, what we're gonna start cooking next is our pasta. This is Banza protein chickpea pasta. I know chickpea pasta is not everyone's shtick, I get that. I kind of go between phases of liking it and not liking it. This is strictly for protein content. If you hate chickpea pasta, you could go whole wheat, you could just go regular pasta. It's just gonna lower your total macros for what I'm going to list at the end of the recipe. But this is what I'm using today. Next, we're going to be using mozzarella cheese. This is a whole brick of mozzarella. I'm going to shred it down into about a cup or so, maybe a little bit more for garnish, but pretty much a cup of shredded mozzarella. If you can only find the bag stuff that's pre-shredded, you can use it, but all of those cheeses that are already pre-shredded in the store have preservatives in them to make them not suck when you eat them, and it kind of throws off the texture and the flavor a little bit. So if you can do it, use whole mozzarella. Then this is where my recipe skews off from the one I'm kind of taking inspiration from. So again, in the pure sanity of having extra protein, I'm going down with some cottage cheese, fat-free cottage cheese. This is like 12 grams per half cup of cottage cheese, which is a ton of extra protein. And then to complement that, some light sour cream. I can't find fat-free sour cream. I'm pretty sure they make it somewhere, but all I could find was light, and this is what we're gonna use. Now the star of the show in terms of seasoning and flavor is going to be gochujang. This is, if you've never heard of it, this is Korean chili paste, and it's interesting. I've never actually just tasted it by itself, but I figure while we're all here and together, might as well give it a taste so I know what we're working with. Oh yeah, It's strong, it's very strong. It's not horrifically spicy, but it's strong. All right. Whew, okay, next one. Brown sugar. This is just kind of an unmeasured amount, just a handful according to the recipe I'm following. So that's what we're gonna try. I think is really just to kind of balance out the spice from everything else. And then ginger paste. This was my own addition. I like ginger in cooking like this, so I'm adding some ginger. 4 garlic cloves that I will be mincing down. And then one more star of the show. This is the chili crisp and oil that I use to season our chicken. Once again, I'm going to leave a link for this and the gochujang in the description below. But this is, if you've never had it, the best topping on anything you could ever imagine. It's just 10 out of 10. And then last but not least, salt and pepper, should we need it. Don't think we will with everything else going on, but we'll have it handy if we do. So let's start cooking. First things first, we need to turn our burner on. Gonna put on medium at first. We're not putting anything in the pan, we're just letting it warm up. Perfect. You see how the water's skating around there? Kind of like dancing a little bit. That means we are perfectly temperature-wise. So we're gonna go down with just a little bit of olive oil, not much, just enough to coat the pan really quick. Yep. Pro tip, don't do that, and make sure you let your water evaporate first. And we are smoking like crazy. All right, my first batch of chicken here is done. We're getting a little dry in the pan. I'm gonna lower the heat for a second and remove all this from the heat. Another little swig of olive oil. Gonna get the heat back up to high and then go down with the rest of our chicken. All right, guys, I'm almost ready to flip the second batch of chicken, so I'm going to take this opportunity to get my pasta water started on high, and do not forget to add a couple big pinches of salt. We need some salted water for some flavorful pasta. So, normal circumstances, you cook your protein, you get a delicious fond underneath your pan, and then you deglaze, it adds flavor to your sauce. This right here in the cooking industry is what we like to call burnt. So that's going to taste horrible in a sauce. It's going to completely ruin the flavor and it's not going to be useful to us. So unfortunately, I will be retiring this pan for the day and we will be starting fresh with the new pan after the pasta's cooked. All right, guys. Pasta is probably 75% of the way done, but we are going to reserve pasta water. So it's actually going to sit in the pasta water for like another 10 minutes or so before we use it. So it's going to carry over cook. So I'm going to shut the heat off now, even though we are definitely not done yet. And now we're gonna start on our sauce. So we're gonna heat our pan on medium, give it a couple minutes. All right, we've been on medium heat for a couple of minutes, feeling pretty warm. We're going to start off our sauce with that same chili crisp and chili oil we used before. We're going to try to get approximately 2 tablespoons of oil to the best we can. Along with a tablespoon of actual crisp. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is all about eyeballing today. And then with that, we're going to go in with our probably about tablespoon of ginger paste. And our minced 4 cloves of garlic. Once it is smelling nice and fragrant in your house, which it is, we're going to go in with about 2 tablespoons of gochujang. Again, does not need to be perfect by any means. We're going to fry our gochujang. We're going to add a half a cup, approximately, of pasta water. Looks pretty good. All right. In a way, we just kind of deglaze what was getting crispy there. So try to scrape off whatever you can. I'm turning my heat down to low. We're going to let this simmer, and I'm going to add a handful of light brown sugar. Try to spread that out pretty evenly. All right, now we're going to go in with about half a cup, give or take, of shredded fresh mozzarella cheese. And then mix it all up to combine. It should be gooey, not runny, after this is combined. At this time, I'm also going to go in with just a little bit of kewpie mayo, just a small drizzle. This stuff packs a punch in terms of calorie content, so I don't want too much in there. And then along with that, we're going to go in with approximately a cup of fat-free cottage cheese. Combine. I'm going to actually turn the heat back up to medium because we're not really bubbling too much. Now, optionally, you can blend your cottage cheese before doing this, and it'll give it a little bit of a smoother texture, but I figure with the heat going, we'll probably end up melting all the curds anyway, and it won't really be too detectable, hopefully. Sheesh. In the meantime, I'm gonna let that simmer a bit, but I do want to give this a taste so we know if we are on the right track or if we need to add a little bit of something. I don't know how I feel about the brown sugar. I think it made it a little too sweet for my taste. I was gonna hold off on the sour cream, but I do think that it is necessary after tasting that to this as well. I'm not really sure. Let's go in with about 2 big dollops of sour cream. And then give this a mix to combine. Try this again. I may be adding some salt here after I taste this. It's almost there. It does need a little bit of a counteraction to that sweetness. I think in retrospect, next time I make this, I'm not putting brown sugar in there. I don't think it's necessary at all. It's not what I was expecting from the taste that I just tried. So I'll probably leave that out of the recipe description, truthfully, because I don't think it is adding anything to the dish, personally. Now, if you're not as calorie conscious, you can see that this is pretty thin. You could definitely add some more cheese to this if you want. Because of this being my kind of like meal prep for the week and caring a lot about calories in, calories out, I'm not going to add any more mozzarella to this, only because I don't want to make it overly fattening. But if that's not your biggest priority, by all means, add more cheese and make this nice and gooey. It'll be amazing. Now we can add our pasta, which should be cooked all the way through now, to our sauce. All right, start to combine. I am going to put a bit more mozzarella on top of this once it is reduced a little bit. But for right now, I'm kind of happy where it is. I'm gonna let the pasta finish in here and hopefully reduce that liquid just a bit, make it nice and creamy. Okay. Before I taste test, let me just reiterate. The brown sugar, I think, is completely unnecessary. I think it made it too sweet, and I had to counteract that with extra spice to try to make it taste like a dinner and not like a weird dessert. So in the recipe that I'm going to give you guys below, I'm not putting the brown sugar. If you want to see the original recipe, I will also leave a link to the original Instagram account that I kind of modeled this recipe after, so you can see how it was originally done. But regardless, let's give it a taste and see how it came out. So I'm going to start with the chicken. It's pan roasted chicken. It's nothing crazy. The one thing I will say is that little bit of sesame oil I used for the chicken to coat it for the marinade does shine through, and I do think that step is 100% necessary because you just notice it. And then probably the star of the show really is the pasta. All right. It's delicious. Let me say that first. I still notice the sweetness of the brown sugar, and I've cooked with gochujang a couple of times before this. It does have a little bit of like a sweet kind of flavor to it, especially when you fry it, but this is more than that. I think it's entirely the brown sugar that's making it a little funky for me. So it's still amazing. I just personally would not use the brown sugar if I do this again. So I'd say 8 out of 10. I'm still confident it would be a 10 out of 10 if you just got rid of the brown sugar. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. The exact macros are this many calories, this much protein, this much carbs, and this much fat. I think it'll be a great meal prep. It definitely spices things up from what I'm usually doing, so I think it'll be something good for you guys to try too. But that's all I got for you. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video, if you could leave a quick like and subscribe, it would help me out a ton. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's all I got. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.